Well, welcome to day two. Brilliant. You made it through day one and you've come back for more. So hopefully you enjoyed yesterday's little workshop. And I also hope that you had a chance to practice your crocheting, just those chain stitches to get the movement going of how to hold your yarn and how to create those chain stitches. So today's day two, and whilst we do have a little bit more theory to get through, don't worry because we will be crocheting today. So before we move on to actually starting the pattern, I wanted to just show you how to read a pattern and how to understand what to do. Because as with anything, you get a set of instructions, and these instructions can be either written or they can be given to you in a visual format like a chart. And I find that charts are really, really great to use, especially for small items like a crochet granny square, or sometimes small amigurumi toys might come with the chart. But typically garments and jumpers and things like that would come in a written format. But for today's workshop and for this challenge, we're going to be using a chart. And I'm going to talk you through how to read the chart and what the different symbols mean. And then just before the end of today's lesson, we are going to complete the foundation round together, and we're going to do the first round. So you will need your crochet hook and a pair of scissors and of course your yarn. So watch me, I'm going to swap over to another camera so I can show you the chart, and then we're going to get crocheting together. I'll see you later. Bye bye.
Firstly, you will notice that the chart pretty much looks like a granny square. You may not be familiar with all the symbols, but you can see it resembles a granny square. Secondly, there are three symbols that are used repeatedly. The solid black dots, these are known as slip stitches. They are really basic and very easy, and you've pretty much done them already by learning how to chain stitch. Next up is the chain stitch. This is the oval shape symbol. The great news is you know this one already, as we learned these stitches yesterday. They are at each corner of the square and in between each of the treble crochet stitches, which leads me nicely onto the last symbol, the last stitch, the treble crochet. This looks like a long letter T with a strike through. This is one of the most popular stitches to know for crochet. With this in your arsenal, you go far in your new hobby. And that's it in terms of the stitches needed for this pattern. The good news is that the treble crochet is repeated and repeated in this square. That is literally all you can see when you look at the pattern chart. Importantly, the stitch is repeated in groups of 3, and there are lots of these groups of 3 stitches. In fact, there are 24 groups of 3 treble crochet clusters in total in this pattern. I like to describe these clusters as a tricycle. A total of 3 wheels make the tricycle. So each treble crochet is a wheel. And when you've completed 3 stitches, i.e. 3 wheels, you can cycle along by crocheting a chain stitch. And then you start to rebuild your tricycle all over again. And this just continues throughout your pattern. Each time you complete the tricycle, i.e. the cluster of 3 stitches, you can cycle to the next station to start again. Each cycle journey is 1 chain stitch. Right, let's dive in now and start our foundation round. Today, on day 2, we're focusing on the foundation round, which is just made up of chain stitches, and the first round, which is a combination of chain stitches and treble crochet clusters. And this is what it looks like crocheted up. You can see the 4 clusters of 3 treble crochets. Remember, it's my tricycle wheels, so 3 stitches in the same space make up my tricycle. So grab your yarn and let's start. Remember, we need to create a slip knot first, so go ahead and do that, and I'll just recap that now with you. Make a loop like this, then flip it over, put your finger on each side and pull that center yarn all the way up until the knot tightens. put your crochet hook through the loop and pull the yarn until it fits the hook nice and snug. Now I want you to crochet 4 chain stitches, but try to chain them loosely. You also have the choice of crocheting 6 chain stitches in this foundation round if you are crocheting quite tightly still. Yarn over and go through both those stitches, and that is it. Your foundation round is now complete. This is the ring with 4 chain stitches, and this is the ring redone with 6 chain stitches. Do what works for you. So for example, if you're crocheting really tight, then go with 6 chains. If you're crocheting really loosely, then 4 should be fine. Neither affects the appearance of the final square. You just need to have that little gap so that your crochet hook can go in and out of that ring. Right, with the foundation round complete, we are now ready for round 2. Do you notice anything strange in the chart for the second round? I've highlighted the first cluster for you in orange. Yes, that's right. This first cluster has 3 chain stitches, not a treble crochet. That is because every time we start a new round, we need to chain 3 stitches and not start with a treble crochet. This keeps our crochet flat. Otherwise, it would curve upwards like a bowl, and no one wants that. I call these my fake treble crochets. Think of it as a DIY fake wheel for your tricycle. Each time you start a new round, we will always start with 3 chain stitches. No matter what, there is no exception. So let's crochet 3 chain stitches together. 1, 2, 3. Don't worry about this tail end. I know it's a real pain in the neck to be crocheting with, but we will weave that in at the end. Okay, so now for the exciting part, our first treble crochet, and really the highlight of day 2. I want you to hold your hook and yarn over. Then your hook needs to go into the ring from the front to the back. As your hook comes out of that ring, I want you to slowly bring it up and catch that yarn in the hook to create your next yarn over. And bring it all the way back down through your ring. Then yarn over and go through 2 stitches. And finally, yarn over once more and go through your final 2 stitches. Now that you have 1 stitch remaining on your hook, the stitch is complete. So we've now stitched 1 fake wheel and 1 wheel for our tricycle. We've only got 1 more to go to create our cluster before we cycle along to the next cluster. So let's do another treble crochet together. Yarn over. Notice how I placed my finger on that yarn over stitch. It really helps me to keep everything together, and I can control the hook better. The hook goes into the ring, and as it comes out the ring, slowly lift up the hook to catch the yarn. This is our yarn over, and bring it back through the loop. Yarn over, go through 2 stitches, and yarn over again and go through your last 2 stitches. Our final stitch for this cluster is now complete. So the next stage is to chain 3, and this creates our corner. So let's do that together. Chain 1, 2, 3. And now we need to crochet another cluster of 3 treble crochets. So let's make a start on that. I'll talk you through the first one slowly as a recap, and then I'll continue to crochet following the chart. So that's 3 treble crochet stitches followed by 3 chain stitches until I have this mini square finished. I'll remind you how to join those last 3 chain stitches with the slip knot to close your round. So keep watching till the end if you want to see this. So remember, yarn over, put your finger on that yarn over, The crochet hook goes into the ring. As it comes out of the ring, it grabs that yarn in its hook and it comes back through. You now have 3 stitches on your crochet hook and you might want to straighten them up. Yarn over, go through 2 and yarn over and go through 2 again. Another 2 treble crochets and you would have finished your second cluster. Okay, so when you've crocheted your last 3 chain stitches to create your final corner, we're ready to join those chain stitches to your first cluster of stitches to complete the square. All you need to do is you need to put your crochet hook into the top of that 3rd chain. So remember, we started off doing 1, 2, 3 chains. I just want you to put the crochet hook in the middle of that 3rd chain stitch, put it in, poke it all the way through and bring your yarn through that stitch and through the stitch again. Yarn over and just pull through that loop and you can fasten that off. And if you watch carefully, I'm just going to show you how to weave in the ends. Well, congratulations, round 1 is done. My suggestion at this point would be to practice as many round 1s as you can. These can be used towards a blanket, for example, in the future, or perhaps you might want to create another project, but I promise you they won't go to waste. Tomorrow is day 3 and we'll be learning how to add our second round as well as adding new colour. So today, practice as much as you can, practice chain stitching, try and do some more mini squares and enjoy the process, and I'll see you tomorrow.